Hi, my name's Ilma, and today I'd like to share John 4, verses 1 to 6. Resting at the well at the sixth hour. Therefore, when the Lord knew that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself was not baptizing, but his disciples were, he left Judea and went away again into Galilee. And he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a city of Samaria called Sychar, near the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. And Jacob's well was there. So Jesus, being wearied from his journey, was sitting thus by the well. It was about the sixth hour. John 4, 1 to 6. Jesus and his disciples walked on foot. Jesus knew that the Pharisees were going to make a big deal of his disciples baptizing more people than John the Baptist. So he left Judea. Though John talks about Jesus' divinity in the earlier chapters, we are shown here how he is also fully human and experiences the limitations of a human body. He was tired and needed to rest. Verse 4 tells us that he had to pass by Samaria, the purpose of which we will know in the latter part of this chapter. He sat resting at Jacob's well. John refers to the John refers to the time of day as the sixth hour. There is some debate over which time system John uses in his gospel. Roman time, which starts at noon, would make this around 6 p.m., which is most likely. However, we can see that John's clock is interpreted differently from version to version. Some Bible translations are more modern in their mention of the time. The other possibility is that John may be using the same time system as the other Gospels, which starts the day at 6 a.m. So Jesus may be sitting at the well at noon or at 6 p.m. Either way, this is hot and inconvenient hour of the day to get water at the well. In this story, we get a glimpse of Jesus' humility. He gets tired of the religious leaders constantly grumbling. We get a glimpse of Jesus' humanity. He gets tired of the religious leaders constantly grumbling, walking miles and miles in the heat, and yet mindful that he needs to meet someone at the well. We know that the next part of the chapter talks about the Samaritan woman, whom he purposefully planned to save. It's interesting that despite all the tiredness and challenges that the religious people posed on his ministry, he still continued to take on the work of bringing others to salvation. John once again gave us a character sketch of the faithfulness of Jesus to follow God's purpose to save people from their sins, as we are about to witness how he interrupted the Samaritan woman's living in a state of sin, hopping from one man to another in the ensuing verses. What a loving God. Reflection. How do we know that Jesus was both God and human in this story? Well, in this story, he was doing his Father's business, who is God. His Father's business was to make sure that most and all, if not possible, all of mankind be saved. But because he is God, he knew that exactly at the certain time that woman will be in the well. So that his omniscience, he's able to see that. But he's also human in this story because we see how tired he is of all these Pharisees getting at his back, at his disciples, coming up with all their grumblings, and how human he is to acknowledge the fact that because he was walking on foot, he is not a superhuman in a way. So he's God, he's divine, but he's also human. So he gets tired, he gets physically exhausted with the walking and the heat of the sun. So that's how we know that Jesus was both God and human in this story. So I encourage you to reflect at Jesus's humanity and Jesus's divinity at the same time. Because if you do, you will realize how much He loves us, how much God loved us to give us His only Son to come as humans like us, so that we can have this hope that if Jesus did it, we can also did it, because that's what He said. If we follow Him, we can do it. So I encourage you, go follow the Lord and rest in Him. Thanks for watching. I hope you check my website at ilma'S.com for artworks and photographs. Have a blessed day. Also subscribe to my channel so I can make more videos for the Lord. God loves you. So do I.